these two media outlets. We'll get back to more on that coming up a little bit later. Here, I have a question about the Fort Lauderdale shooting. I'm not real big on making a bigger name for these idiots who commit these atrocities than they deserve. But I think it's interesting that the Florida senators came out and identified this guy almost immediately, Esteban Santiago, and there was a audible sigh of relief because people heard a Hispanic surname and assumed this wasn't a Muslim attack. But I haven't heard a lot about it since then, and you don't have to go very far. Pam Geller is one of the people who's investigated this a little more. 10 years ago, this Esteban Santiago, also identified as Ashik Hamad, and was identified with Islam. So we still don't know the full story on what his motivation was. We only know the result, that 5 people lost their lives and at least 6 others were injured. The names of all but one have been released of the victims. Shirley Timmons was 70 years old. A lot of these people were there to go on cruises. My website is locked up on me here. But I know that Shirley Timmons was one of them. Terry Andres was one of them. Michael Ohm, who's 57 years old, was one of them. And the fourth one that we know of was Olga Woltering, who was 84 years old. And what I found out is Olga had some local ties here to Southern Illinois, and Frank Rebholz is related to her by marriage. Am I right about that, Frank?
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
He works for a local company out in Chesterfield, and he reached out to us because he wanted to make sure that people knew more about Olga and what a special person she was as one of the victims of this shooting in Fort Lauderdale. First of all, tell us about your connection and where that was from.
Well, my connection is St. Rose, Illinois. My mother-in-law is Marcy Albert Ernst, and it's Ralph's sister. Ralph is the husband of Olga. We called her Ollie. Ollie's from Britain, and they met in the service over when he was in the service in the United States Air Force, and he was a careerist, and they came back and settled in Atlanta. But the connection, there's 9 kids in Ralph's family, and they make it up here for every event in Southern Illinois. And Ollie was always the life of the party, great personality, just a super charismatic and engaging individual, and she will be sorely missed, but I think we always lose sight of how many people across the country are touched in circumstances like this, that, we like you just said, we address the guy that did the crime, but we forget how many lives are touched by a person in an instance like this. She was just an outstanding individual.
Now, Ralph and Ollie, as you referred to her, live down in Georgia, right, Marietta?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. And
then my wife is obviously, Ollie is her aunt, and my wife, Laurie Rebholz, she was real tight with her. We actually traveled to Atlanta several times. They always had an open door policy. You come, you stay with them. They wouldn't take no for an answer. So just great people, and they were down there. Her and her husband really loved going on cruises, and they were going to celebrate his 90th birthday and with their children. Their children are all older. Their eldest son, Gary, was a full colonel in the Air Force, and he flew the 117th stealth fighter. Just an outstandingly patriotic family, and obviously the influence of both Ralph and Ollie on the kids. There's Mike, Debbie, and Tim with the other children, and then they have great-grandchildren as well. So, I mean, just a very, very sad story, but I just wanted to reach out. I appreciate both yourself and Jamie, addressing the people that were lost due to Islamic terrorism, as I like to call it. It's just a horrible thing.
It is, but it also, like you said, it brings it back home a little bit to know that it's affecting people even here in our listening area, because these people were from all over the country who just happened to fly there to. Most of them, I believe, were going on vacation.
Yes, sir.
And what a shame.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Frank Rebholz, thanks for your time. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank
All
you,
right.
Mark. Have a good day.
You take care. My condolences to the family, please.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Frank,
Bye.
take care. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is kind of strange. I obviously planned on having Frank call in here today, and I went back to do some research on who these victims were. In most cases, the media found out about the victims through family members and not the feds, apparently. And there's at least one victim who still hasn't been publicly identified. Either the family hasn't come forward or they're not ready to release the name yet. I don't know if it's part of the investigation or what the situation is there. But I did find it interesting that correct me if I'm wrong, and I'd love to take your phone call, 314-969-9797. But this story has faded quickly, it seems to me like, from the media coverage, and I have not seen anything else about this Esteban guy. I saw a few interviews with his family members, but nothing about this possible Islamic connection. So, is he a Muslim? Did he obviously, when he was in the military, he didn't go by Ashik Hamad. He went by Esteban Santiago. So we just don't know all the details about him yet, except that he's wearing an ISIS scarf and given a symbol in that picture that has been seen of him, although some media outlets apparently edited that. I thought it was important to bring that up again today, particularly when Frank reached out to us, just so people do know who